What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Frank again, here with my boy Jeremy Wolner, who is auspiciously overdressed for the occasion. Today we're going to be talking about John Wick's release date. Jamie Lee Curtis and her brother Michael are going to be going at it one more time. Jeepers Creepers 3 has a bit of a controversy, and we'll be discussing remakes and reboots, so stick around. We're going to have a fun show today. So John Wick comes out with a release date. They're coming out May 17th, 2019. What do you think about the date?
I think it's a long damn wait. You don't want to tell somebody that and then, to where the hype dies down a little bit. And it's like, I don't know. It may still carry over for like the next 2 years, but I don't know. It's exciting. Hearing it now, I'm like, oh crap, awesome. There's another third one and make a trilogy out of this. And I don't know what else we're going to do with this. But, hey, Taken, I didn't know, hey, there's other terrorists involved. Yeah, it's sequel bait, why not?
It's not surprising to me that they announced the date, that they announced it this far out, rather. What surprised me is that they picked the date at all. Because when
do they have, production going? I'm like, you have an ambitious date, I guess. I'm like, okay, but have you started on this? Do you know?
Well, the date itself is not that ambitious. Because May 2019, that's 18 months away. That's plenty of time to get this movie going.
I don't know where they're at, is what I'm saying. If they've already started writing, production, maybe filming even. That's a big movie to try and do. I get it, but I don't know.
The interesting part to me was the date, because when you're setting these release dates, you're also looking at what's around it. And what's around it right now is 2 weeks before May 17th on the 3rd is the 4th Avengers movie. And the week after it comes out comes the live-action Aladdin, and this Minecraft movie that they're still trying to make is scheduled to come out the week after. So while I think there's still going to be plenty of John Wick fans that are still going to go see this movie regardless, you're going to be still dealing with Avengers, which I would imagine by that weekend is still going to be somewhere near the $50 million range.
Oh yeah, like you just said, there's John Wick fans, people love the Avengers, they're going to go see it. Like with Star Wars, you're still going to go see it. It's I think I know what you're saying is what's being released around it. It's also a time period. That's almost like getting into summer. It's when the summer movies come out, the big blockbusters and all kinds of stuff like that. Maybe they're trying to work it in in line with all these other movies, to maybe compete with them a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's odd that they pick right in the middle of two movies that could damage the box office take, because the live action Disney stuff has been doing very well. Jungle Book was a very good movie. You've got Jon Favreau.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast was huge. Yeah. Jon Favreau is working on a live action Lion King now.
Yeah, I want to see that.
So all the live action stuff is doing very, very well. So you got that that's going to take away from you the week after you come out. Everybody's going to be Avengers nuts when it's for the first couple weeks.
Yeah, and all the John Wick fans are going to come out.
The odds of John Wick actually coming out on May 17th, I think, are a little slim. I think as they get farther along in pre-production,
it may just be a, hey, here's what we're shooting for. But they may move around, and they had to look at that. They know, okay, it may be taking a chance. Cause
what do you think the odds are that they're going to move John Wick? They're going to move the release date.
It's possible because with how production goes, and again going up against all these other movies, it may be wise to move it somewhere else.
We don't exactly know what else is coming out around there, so could it move forward to February?
This is still 2019. We don't even know next year.
Yeah. Because Deadpool came out in February and did pretty damn good.
Right.
Now, the marketing played a
part of that. He was kind of hyped up.
Yeah, the marketing played a big part of that. But, normally February 14th would be either rom-coms or kind of a dumping ground for movies that you're just hoping make you some money.
Well, that's why they kind of went with the joke of, hey, it's definitely a romantic flick. Take your girlfriend.
But,
but that's Deadpool.
It was a love story at its core, so I think it kind of worked out that way. But I don't know if you want to move it back that far, because you get out of May and you get deeper into that summer movie season where you're going to have probably, and I don't know exactly in front of me what's going on in 2019, but you're looking at probably a DC movie. You're looking at probably another live action Disney movie later in the summer, I think. I don't know when Lion King's scheduled to come out. I think it's scheduled to come out later that summer. If you get too deep, especially closer to July 4th, when the biggest movies will tend to come out, is in that 2 or 3 week span surrounding July 4th.
And not that it won't be a big deal. It's John Wick 3, and it's this series that people that are now into.
Well, it's a big
the Avengers,
series.
like, it's the fourth Avengers, everyone's like, oh crap, let's go see the Avengers again, you know?
Yeah, and it's a big series. And I know it's not exactly going up against Star Wars or anything like that.
No, and like that's why they push that, and like, I was going to mention that, I'm like, that's in like Christmas, like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, nobody in their right mind would go against Star Wars.
No, you never go against Star Wars, no.
But can you...
Take notes, Star Trek.
but can you do a good opening week when you've still got Avengers that's going to be pulling some people in? Because Avengers is one of those movies that's like Star Wars. You don't just go see it in theaters once and then you wait for it to come out on DVD or Blu-ray. You're going to go see that movie 3 or 4 times in the theater. There's still going to be a lot of repeat viewing going on for Avengers.
You're going to buy it and rewatch it like 100 times after that, yeah.
And then you're going to have the live-action Aladdin, and then who the hell knows what this Minecraft movie is going to do, and then whatever else is going to pop up between now and then.
That's amazing to me is the video game person. I'm like, there's a Minecraft movie? What?
I think most people look
You're telling me this, like, hold on.
I think most people look at the fact they're making a Minecraft movie and they're a little perplexed. I see it moving at some point. I don't see it holding this release date. I see it moving.
No, I mean they're probably saying, hey, and at least we know. They're like, hey, we're working on this. June. That's still fine.
Because June's still a doable date. Like I said, I don't know what's coming out in June of 2019 right now. What's on the schedule, but I don't know if you want to mess with Avengers 4.
And yeah, that's what I mean. Like maybe that's a movie for something big. Like that's in May. Like if you move back even a month or move it, it's like you don't open with that. You know what I mean? Like Avengers is gonna be your big blockbuster movie this summer. It's like this is something that's like it's a big deal, but maybe it's not something you come out of the gate swinging with. You know what I mean?
Moving on, Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back for one more round against her brother Michael Myers. Now,
I don't want to talk about this.
Oh, you want to talk about this? I want to talk about this.
Give me about 2 more days and I'll probably go on about it all day.
Now, you've seen the picture that Jamie Lee Curtis released on her Facebook page of her standing there wearing the bell bottoms, looking as attractive as she ever has, with her brother standing in the background with a knife.
Even from my 70s standards, I mean, it's in 2017.
2017. What are your thoughts on them coming out with a sequel? Or sequel / Okay. First off, let's talk about where this fits into
the
Halloween canon. They have said that this actually will be Halloween 3. That it will come after the first and second Halloween movie that she did way back in the day. The official synopsis: Laurie Strode comes to her final confrontation with Michael Myers, the masked figure who has haunted her since she narrowly escaped his kill spree on Halloween night 4 decades ago. Basically, what this is saying is that Halloween H2O, which is a movie that helped launch Josh Hartnett's career, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And this one helped get her, the original,
Yeah, that movie never happened. Nothing forward from that happened. The Rob Zombie reboot never happened.
I think a lot of us think that.
Yeah, we all wish that a lot of them didn't happen. I personally didn't hate H2O. I thought it was an okay movie.
No, and that Resurrection, I still liked them. They were cool. But it's like, this is, like you said, it's not like, Rob Zombie's is his own thing. That's a reboot. This is the series of Halloween that they continued and made sequels for. Like I said, then they made the remakes. This is in line with the series that, they made. So I'm like, that was my first thought. Okay, so wait, where is this? I'm like, obviously Jamie Lee Curtis isn't 20-something Laurie Strode anymore. I'm like, so is this like after something? Like, it just seems kind of disappointing. Like those movies that they made in their own thing is just now. Well, okay, that didn't really happen. I'm like, because I'm wondering, like, didn't she like die? They were kind of melts together, but I'm like, Halloween 3 is like had nothing to do with anything. So I get that. Like some people are like, it's the Halloween 3 that we never got. I'm like, that's cool, but I don't know how you're gonna do this with watching 1, 2, and then like, hey, let's watch this. Now she's like this old. Well, and then how'd she magically get young again? Oh no, it didn't happen because we can do what we want. Like, okay.
Well, they're saying pretty clearly that this all happens 4 decades after what I guess would be the events of the second Halloween movie.
Okay, because someone said it was like after the hospital scene or something, like the second one, or like wherever that was.
From what I've read, this will be considered the 3rd film in franchise canon.
Okay.
So the original Halloween, the Halloween Part 2, and then will come this movie. That everything else that's happened in a Halloween movie, they're just retconning it. It just doesn't exist.
Because I do appreciate that John Carpenter is up in this.
Well, it's based on his characters.
That's what I mean. Like, if anyone would be there, like, I'm glad that he is in this. Like,
so he's getting a character credit. But as far as him actually being involved in it, I really doubt what happened.
Well, he's a writer. I mean, like, he did like the whole first movie himself. Man. He did the music, the writing, the directing. Excuse me, Jesus. And that's I like that ambition that you did all that. And like something like that simple theme you did on the piano. I'm like, I how many times do you hear that and you know what it is?
Yeah. I really hope this is really just the end of this series. Because we see it in Hollywood a lot.
We all wish Jason kind of stopped.
Yeah, we all...
He went to space. Oh, for fuck's sake.
We all want to see a finality, is what we want. I think that's one of the reasons why people got so annoyed with the last several Resident Evil movies, is because it was like... At the end of every movie was like, there was that one little stinger right before the credits roll, or even during the credits of, one person got away, Alice is on the run, and then...
Tell Wesker, zoom out, zombies, it's just begun. I'm like, oh, damn it.
It's like this whole series has just begun 7 times. And that's one of the reasons I really, really love the fact that they said that this last movie was the final one with Alice, and I was like, good. Let there be some finality, because they drag this character on and on and on and on and on, and then people get tired of it.
And because, like, really, I mean, I like the creative, not creative freedom, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, they took her, she's not from the game, we know that, like, they took her and made her own thing, like, they threw in, like, Nemesis, they threw in Wesker, stuff from the Chris Redfield, you throw in stuff from the game that people can, like, you can geek out about.
Oh, it definitely was inspired by the game.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's where people like me, again, who plays it, I'm like, I mean, okay. That wasn't part of it, but it's like, it's kind of, at least it's kind of in that universe, like, hey, look, there's all these people from the game that I know. I don't know, like, they kind of took their own route with it, and I'm like, alright, it was interesting up until I think maybe 3, and a lot of people don't even like 2. I'm like, I thought 1 and 2 were pretty sweet, and 3 was actually still pretty cool. The one in Vegas, I think, was Extinction, I think.
I don't know, I've forgotten at this point.
I know, they all go together.
I just really hope that this is the final chapter, that, like, you're making this the 3rd movie of the trilogy with the first 2. We can ignore the rest of the stuff, even though I think it was all bad. Rob Zombie's wasn't horrible. The H2O, whatever it was, when she was the headmaster of the school,
H2O and then Resurrection
wasn't bad. But if you're going to make this the 3rd of your trilogy and have these be the box set, just kind of not the other ones, those be the important movies, and I hope this is a good movie. I hope it gives her character a fitting end, whether she lives or dies. Whether she lives or dies, I just want the ending to fit the character. And I just want to be satisfied when I walk out of the movie theater. And if they can give me that, I'll be happy.
I think that's what we all want.
Now, controversy. For those of you who like the Jeepers Creepers movies, and I don't think they're bad. I know a lot of people take a shit on the Jeepers Creepers movies because they are kind of B-rate. They're kind of low budget. But they're entertaining. The special effects aren't hateful. The stories are a little thin, I'm not going to lie. But they've been fun to watch. The controversy comes with their director, Victor Salva, who apparently, for some ungodly reason, thought it would be a fantastic idea when he was directing his, I guess it was his first film, called Clown House, back in 1988. Apparently molested a 12-year-old child actor over the course of not 1, but 2 films that he worked with this actor, who was, at the time, 12 years old. So, after this kid comes forward, and, to go into some of the background on this guy, he ends up serving, he gets 3 years for not just the act of what he did to this kid, but he had child porn. He apparently videotaped some of what he did with this kid. And all sorts of horrible things. 3 years
is what you justify with that?
Well, the justice system is not what we're debating right now. Because I absolutely agree. I really think you need to throw all these people that do this off a cliff. But he serves 15 months. He completed parole back in 1992, and now he's back.
That's a good year.
And now he's back directing movies. So what they're doing with Jeepers Creepers is, I know they are having a one-night event where this movie is going to be in theaters, and that's going to be it.
I was told about that, and it's like, I almost think, they don't have faith in this, do they?
Now, first off, I'm not going to go see this. In all honesty, if I'd have known that this guy was involved in that kind of stuff before I had even seen the Jeepers Creepers movies, I probably wouldn't have watched those either.
No.
Because I can't support this kind of thing. Now, the distributors of the film are coming out with this, he served his time, yada, yada, yada. Does that really make it okay to go back to him and say, hey, come make another movie with us? Because you'd think that with the way that bad press affects movie productions and box office sales,
it's going to wreck your shit. Like with the Bill Cosby thing. This was, like, what did you say, back in '88?
Yeah.
And this just came out, like, what, now? it's something like that, and like it's gonna tarnish the hell out of your reputation. You're not gonna, no one's gonna want to do anything with you. You're not gonna be looked at the same way. And even if you say, "Oh, well, they did their time," like, yeah, but I mean, I don't know, man. He still molested a kid. There were 2 movies. Like, what do you?
Well, yeah, and that's what makes the whole thing heinous. Is he didn't just do it once and then the kid walked away. It's like it happened over 2 films.
Yeah,
he videotaped it, and then the laundry list of other things. I don't understand why the people that made this movie would go back to this guy and say, "Hey, come back into the fold and make us another movie." You'd have to know that this is going to get out. Apparently, it's been out for a while, but it's just now making news.
You don't want something like that tied to your thing. Even like I said, even it's Jeepers Creepers, and like you said, it's like you said, like if it was like Avengers, it'd be like, "Oh, holy crap! Whoa, wait a minute."
Yeah,
it's not a big thing, but it's still not great to have that hanging on to your series.
Well, I'll draw a comparison here. You remember that Bryan Singer got in some trouble a while back, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I don't know if Bryan Singer actually did anything or not. Now, I just hear what is reported in the trades and all that. But do you think that anybody would boycott a Bryan Singer movie, considering that he does movies like X-Men and so on and so on? Do you think anybody would do that to a guy like Bryan Singer? Now, he didn't get convicted. He wasn't even officially charged. But I mean, I'm of the mind of where there's smoke, there's fire, and you got to admit, when you are rich and powerful in Hollywood, your proclivities tend to run away with you from time to time. But I mean, the reality is he may have been into something that wasn't quite legal and probably a little bit distasteful, along the lines of what this guy did. Mm-hmm. Do you think anybody would, protest or boycott a Bryan Singer movie, like, he did Superman Returns, or one of his other big budget things that he's done?
Well, I mean, didn't they do that with, what's the name, Mel Gibson? Like, when he started doing all those anti-Semitic remarks, and everyone's like, boycott his movies, and it's like...
But that's my point, though, is they
say like, this guy's kind of off his nut, but like, hey...
That's the point, is they say they're going to boycott, but you get to, like, Bryan Singer and Mel Gibson, I think the star power kind of drowns out.
You're going to be like, oh, hey...
A lot of people didn't know Victor Silva's name until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, a couple weeks ago, if you had said who directed, Clown House and the first 2 Jeepers Creepers movies, people would have looked at you like, befuddled, like, I don't know, who cares?
Like I said, like, when I mentioned Bill Cosby, like, oh, Bill Cosby, holy crap, I watched the Cosby Show when I was, bored at 2 in the morning when it was on reruns. Like, you're like, oh, crap.
I'm so old, I actually go back to the Fat Albert days.
Okay.
That's sad. But I really... That's sad. I mean, for one, I'm not going to go see this movie. For one, because I really...
Well, that aside, I'm like, I don't even think I still want to see it. Just as Jeepers Creepers 3, I'm like, eh.
Well, like I said, I mean, I watched the first ones, not the first 2 films, not knowing about all this stuff with their director.
It's like Halloween.
And they were...
Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah, they were fun enough movies.
What are you going to do?
But knowing this, I'm like, I really don't think I want to go see this movie so bad that I can justify giving my money to a company that continues to bring this guy back.
Yeah, there's that too. That's on top of the whole...
And I can't figure out why they would even go back. Why? Honestly, they had to have known this when they hired him to do the first Jeepers Creepers movie. Which kind of makes me look at this company and be
because you're like, it just came out now. I was like, it's not like they didn't. I mean, I don't know. You don't know when they actually knew this kind of thing.
I don't know. I mean,
it's not like this just happened. You're like, oh, holy crap.
The first Jeepers Creepers came out in like early 2000s.
Yeah.
So this is 10 years almost after his trial.
Yeah.
After he was convicted, because he was convicted in, I want to say it was 89 or 90.
Probably right after.
He served 15 months of his 3 years and completed parole in 92. So, I mean, they had to have known this. I mean, he completed parole about 10 years before the first movie came out, was released. So you had to think that when he says, hey, he comes with this pitch and says, hey, I've got this, movie that I want to make about some scary scarecrow man who flies around in cornfields and attacks kids on school buses. That they might be like, oh, okay, what's your name again? Yeah, we're going to run a background check on you real quick.
Yeah, let's check her out fast.
Yeah, but, and this had to have come up, and the studio, or at least the distributors, had to have looked at it and said, well, we're going to overlook it this time. It's like, really? You're throwing your lot in with kind of a bad dude. And I think that kind of reflects in the fact that you have no class. Because I personally, if I was running a studio, I wouldn't get in cahoots with this guy. I wouldn't do it. I don't care how good of a pitch he gave me. I'd be like, you know what? Good luck finding a home for your movie somewhere else. It's just not going to be here. And I know they say in Hollywood that there's no such thing as bad publicity. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. This is bad press. This is bad publicity.
Yeah, that happens.
Famous people can do stuff that make pretty much everybody look at them and go, "No, we're done with you." I mean, Michael Vick dealt with it as an athlete with the whole dogfighting thing.
We've all still watched the movies. I mean, the other two, it's like no one. Well, you hear that and you're like, no. To them, you're like, okay, why did you go through? And now that we know this, it's kind of like, oh, well, that's kind of awkward. Now that we know who's behind this.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I generally don't watch anything Roman Polanski. He's been on the run from the American government for about 30 years now.
Yeah, he's been going
for evading some kind of charges for something similar for doing something to an underage girl, and he jumped ship and went to Sweden or something like that, and now he's hanging out over there trying to avoid extradition to come back and face his crimes. I mean, I can't just overlook things like that in good conscience.
It's still in your mind, like
and
even if
say, "Oh, this is a good movie." Okay. I don't care how good of a movie you made. If this were Joss Whedon, we were talking the Avengers, I'd be like,
"Please bring back Firefly."
I think I'll wait until a friend brings the DVD over before I watch it, so I don't have to spend any of my money supporting this person. Now, remakes and reboots. This is a touchy subject with some people. It's a touchy subject for me.
Me being one of them. It's
what do you want out of a reboot or a remake?
Well, see, you want to stay at least pretty true to your source material. You don't want to. I wouldn't deviate too far. I mean, you can take some creative liberties with some things, and obviously, you step it up with effects. Like something that came out like back in the 70s, 80s. Yeah, they run effects. It's it's cool for the time. Like maybe even something like it got the longevity like Star Wars. It's like you look at that, and it's like even for the time, that's still pretty damn cool. And it still kind of holds up today. Like even Back to the Future, like just the simple effects they did for that was cool. But if you did it now, I mean, like it would just blow your mind, man. Like I saw those X-wings fly across that water, and I was geeking out pretty fucking hard.
Me too.
I was like, just to hear the sound, and I'm like, I mean, I love to, video games, I love to pilot stuff. So I was seeing those, and I'm like, that is beautiful. So, stay true to your thing. Don't, you don't want to deviate too far, and I don't want to say like have it make sense. Like you said, you want to walk out of a theater being like happy with what they did. You don't want to walk out and be like, what was that? Like. You feel like defeated. See, adapting stuff is one thing, but like when you reboot it, you want to take it to that next level. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to stay. You got to up the ante a little bit.
I'm a little touchy on reboots because people always want to reboot stuff that was already incredibly successful.
Yeah,
it's like one of the things that comes up a lot.
You're writing off a name at that point. You're just like, hey, look, this is Wonder Woman. Oh.
Well, one of the things that comes up a lot when people talk about reboots is Jaws. And I hear this on a lot of different channels and stuff when they talk about the subject, and I'm like, I'm okay with any movie being remade.
Yeah.
The thing about remaking is you have to be able to add something that wasn't already there to make it that much better.
Like I said, up it a little bit.
Now, Jaws, and I don't know what you think of Jaws. I mean, it's one of the first,
like I said,
thriller, scary movies that I had ever seen.
I only watched the first one because I just can't stand the sequels.
The first one is terrifying by today's standards.
Yeah, even so, like if I showed them, well, I don't have kids, thankfully, but if I showed them that, like that would still scare the shit out of you. You wouldn't want to go swimming ever again.
Yeah, but
it's done so well that like again with the fact that the shark didn't work, but you still created that fear out of you don't see it, and that's what's scary, man. Like that's psychological. If you don't see something, that will freak you out.
Yeah, the first one is terrifying by today's standards. So when you want to try to remake it, you have to be able to kick things up in a way that actually enhances what's already there. And on top of that...
I mean, shark attacks are pretty scary.
Yeah, on their own, they're pretty scary.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The fact that the shark seems to be gunning for you and your family, it's like, wow, that's even scarier because now it's made it personal. Which was actually the tagline.
That's why I laughed.
This time it's personal.
This time it's really personal.
But what aggravates me about a lot of these
There ain't a boat big enough for you, Brody.
What aggravates me about a lot of the reboots is they find directors and production staffs that they have no idea what they're doing. Now, if it were to break right now on the internet saying Steven Spielberg is scouting locations for a Jaws reboot, he hopes to start shooting sometime late next summer for whatever release date in 2019. I would be happy with that because it was his film. He was the one that adapted the book into the movie in the 70s. It was a great movie.
He put the author in the movie too.
Yeah,
Fun fact.
It was a great movie, so I would be okay with that. If you were to replace Spielberg's name with a guy like Ron Howard, I'd be happy with that because Ron Howard, even though it's probably not the kind of movie he would normally make,
no, but he's a reputable guy.
Yeah, he's proven himself. He's made some really good movies. But if you were to replace Ron Howard with McG,
who?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would be asking for the nuclear launch code so I could destroy Hollywood before this abomination can get made. What I get angry about is they want to reboot or restart these franchises that are really, really good, and they could use some modernization.
That's what I mean.
Could be done.
You see it by today's standards, and it just blows your freaking mind. Like, whoa!
But they go and attach guys that have no business having anything to do with this.
You feel like there may be that disappointment. That's why you're apprehensive. Like, I don't know.
And it's like McG. I mean, okay, I'm not going to lie that the Charlie's Angels movies are a bit of a guilty pleasure. They're not good movies.
No, they're not. But
you know, you can't
admit that you don't like.
And I'm not going to deny that one of the sexiest things I've ever seen is Cameron Diaz dancing around in Spider-Man underoos. But
was that movie I watched in the dark with all the shades pulled down?
But did you see what he did with Terminator Salvation? It wasn't a bad concept, but the movie was horrible.
Yeah, I watched it again. Well, that's why I didn't go see Genesis, because I'm like, okay, Arnie, dude, that's another series. Just stop. It's okay, believe me. 1 was cool, 2 was amazing, 3, and then you kind of just, all right, now you're killing it. There's a point to where it's overkill. You're beating the horse.
I think the problem is they're not
writing off that name. You're like, hey, it's Terminator.
I think the problem is they're not approaching these things right. You can't bring back a thing like. And you talk about Terminator. You can't bring back Terminator and just say, okay, we're going to make 5 more movies with Arnold. No, you can't, because Arnold's getting too old.
Like I said, does Arnie need a paycheck?
Yeah, Arnie needs a paycheck.
I almost wanted to say that with Halloween. I'm like, okay, Jamie need a paycheck? Come on, man. Activity not working out for you?
But well, if you go after one of these people, though, and because I know for the longest time, she had kind of like gotten away from Halloween and from stuff like that because.
Oh yeah, you branch out from that. Like,
yeah, she wanted.
You're the scream queen, but you're like, yeah, all right, cool, but I kind of want to do,
And I think that the fact that they went to her and said, okay, here's our idea, maybe even here's our script. I mean, they're actually starting to shoot this very soon, so the script's got to be either done or close to done.
Oh yeah.
They probably showed her the script, and she read it and says, oh, okay, this is actually really good, and I'm really confident that she reads the script and she says, okay, this is a good way for me to finally end this character. I'm really confident in the fact that she gets involved because she has confidence in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She thinks it'll work.
But when it comes to like the reboots, you have, like I said, you have to be able to add something to the original. And if all you're doing is a cash grab, then you're not doing anything good. You're making a crap movie. If I wanted to see a shot-for-shot remake of this movie, I could just go back and watch the original movie.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I mean, now the interesting thing about the shot-for-shot remakes, even if that is what you're doing, is that, sure, you can put a different actor in there. But the reason some of these movies have become iconic is because of the things that you don't plan on. You don't necessarily plan on how good the chemistry is between actors. You don't really plan on how well a scene's going to go or how well the movie's going to be received.
Hannibal Lecter was going to do like a little like...
Yeah.
You know he was going to do that. And that's what makes it gold. Like,
it's the little
now you're just redoing it to try and write off. I'm like, that was the gold moment of that movie.
Yeah, it's the little things like that make these movies special, that help them carry over time. You can't just recapture that magic. That magic happens completely by accident. And
that's makes it cool, yeah.
You can't just say, okay, I'm going to remake I'm going to remake Wizard of Oz, and it's going to be just as loved as the one with Judy Garland.
Wasn't it that one that was James Franco or whatever the hell that was? Oz the Great and Powerful.
Oh yeah.
Like, was it a remake or what the hell was it? Because I refused to see it. Because I don't want to watch it. Nope. It's still.
It was.
Nope.
I guess it was a prequel.
I guess, because it wasn't like setting up the wizard or something.
Yeah, it's how the chick becomes the witch.
I don't know. Hey, you know what? Actually, another fun fact: there's a silent movie of Wizard of Oz from like 1925.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad. Like, God, there's 2 people in the world that know that.
And that's why reboots are touchy, is because you have to be able to add something to the original thing. The reboots that I want to see.
Okay, and I want to see what you say here.
I am 100% confident that this would be fantastic if Marvel was to ever do this. Remake Howard the Duck. And I hope somebody from Marvel and Disney is watching this, because I think you guys are missing out on a big idea here. You had Howard the Duck show up in that one post-credit scene in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. He's in like a scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 again, just in a real quick scene.
Wasn't that movie from like it's all like this 80s vibe, so wasn't he from it? So it's like, hey, let's just throw Howard the Duck.
So let me throw this out there to you. You make a one-off Howard the Duck movie. You can do it for, bus fare. You don't have to spend the kind of money on it you're spending on the Avengers movies. A one-off movie, you have a couple of cameos from have Rocket Raccoon pop in for a cameo for a few minutes. Have
Chris Pratt stumbles in for some reason.
Yeah, have one of the Guardians pop in there. Have him have some little conference call with Groot. I mean, just
I think we know how that call would go.
Establish that it exists in that universe, but you don't
which is what Marvel's about.
But you don't have to make Howard the Duck one of the Avengers for this to be fun. You can make it kind of a little thing off to the side, just a little fun thing. And I think you can do it very well because, let's face it, one of the things that Marvel's really awesome at is crafting their stories. Oh, yeah. And I think it would be easier. I think it would be easier to craft a story for this because you don't have to give him the constraints of having him fit in the box of what's happening in the MCU. All you got to do is establish that he exists in that universe and he can have his own story. And if you actually put the brains that are putting all this story together in Marvel, go after a legitimate Howard the Duck movie, go back to the comic book and the source material, and maybe pull some more elements out of that, do what George Lucas couldn't do with the original film in the 80s. Honestly, I think that movie would make money. Reboots have been tough to pull off. That's one of the reasons I think J.J. Abrams, as a director, is one of the best guys out there right now. I really did not think that he was going to be able to do what he did with Star Trek.
I don't think a lot of people did, and that's, and I wondered if that's why they put it for Star Wars. I'm like, well, yeah, he could. Well, you're not really rebooting Star Wars, you're continuing, but you were able to amp that shit up and just go with it. And I'm like, you blew everyone's mind with that.
I think one of the reasons they went after him for Star Wars is because of what he did with Star Trek. Because it wasn't just, okay, we're going to reboot it, we're going to start all over again with this thing. He had to handle it a certain way.
Yeah, when you have that, the pressure is like, okay, this is something this has been going on since the 60s, I think?
Yeah.
So this is something that's got a long line of fans, different ages that are all seeing this, and they're looking at you like they want to see something. Like you said, you want to add something. You still want to keep them entertained, satisfy them, but you also want to kick it up.
One of the best things about the first Star Trek movie was that scene between the two Spocks, and I think that was a pivotal scene for what JJ was trying to do because it wasn't just Spock Prime and Leonard Nimoy looking at Zachary Quinto's Spock and saying, "Okay, I'm giving this over to you." That scene was also very much for fans. That was Leonard Nimoy.
You're like,
that was Leonard Nimoy essentially looking into the camera and saying, "Look, long-term Trekkies from back in the mid-'60s when we were on TV. It's okay to like this. I'm signing off on this because I like what JJ is doing."
It's passing the torch.
It was that passing the torch moment. If you can get somebody from the original incarnation of that property to go out and say, "Hey guys, I'll be involved with this because I think it pays good homage to what we did originally. It's gonna push the story forward the proper way." That gives me a lot of confidence, and I think that's what JJ did with
the actors
with Star Trek. Star Wars, on a much bigger scale, he had to deal with this massive fan base that if you get one scene out of place, they're going to kill you over it. But not only is he trying to satisfy this fan base that already exists, which is monstrous, which is worldwide, he's also trying to find a way to make it relevant today.
Yeah, for the kids who maybe don't.
To the demographic that they're after, the 13 to 28 or whatever the demographic is. You also have to remember in the back of your head for J.J. Abrams, Lucas, the guy who created this entire world, got destroyed for the prequels and how bad they were.
Yeah, that's
if they're willing to throw that guy under the bus, the god of everything that they love, what are they going to do to me if I don't do this right? So I think it was a huge move by Abrams to say, okay, I'll go ahead and do this. And I think he did it right. I mean, I'll nitpick a few of the things that came out in The Force Awakens.
Well, it was basically New Hope 2.0.
But that's okay.
Look at it and fight me. It's New Hope, but it's different.
It was.
But you can see, I mean, maybe that's what he was trying to do, but I'm kind of like, this is New Hope again. I mean, this is basically kind of New Hope.
Well, it was, but
I wasn't disappointed. I walked out, I mean, of course, the initial fanboyness, I'm like,
oh yeah.
So I saw the Falcon, I freaked the hell out. I'm like, yeah, and Han and Chewie walk in, you just squeal like a woman. I'm like,
yeah, and that's the hard part about going after one of these big franchises is if you get something with a huge fan base like Star Wars, Star Trek, or something.
Everyone's holding their breath.
Yeah, people are already very skeptical going into it. So
I'll admit it, I was because
I just want remakes and reboots to be done well, to be done sensibly. Don't go out there and try to make anything a spectacle when it doesn't need to be a spectacle.
And that's why I'm holding my breath. You want to talk about Harrison Ford again, the Blade Runner. I'm like, are we just doing this because, I mean, maybe Harrison Ford wants this to end too, because like he wanted to kill Han into like the first movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, again,
I think that's one of the ways that J.J. Abrams got him to sign on to be the Force Awakens.
Because he knew that was.
I want you to kill Han Solo.
And because he's an original character that's now not there anymore, and that was the whole, okay, when you take it back to, okay, hey, Obi-Wan's in 1, 2, and 3, 4, okay, he dies. But back in 1977, it's like, you just met this dude. This Obi-Wan, he dies like, halfway through the movie, and you're like, oh shit. This thing with, Han, he was that Obi-Wan character of that movie that he's the older mentor guy who's, then he dies. And I think that's what the whole, now it's Luke. So I think with this, now it's Rey who's now doing this. I feel like maybe that's the passing of the torch thing. Just maybe that's, and again, that was his wanting to end that. And I'm wondering if that's maybe what he wants to do with Blade Runner, because he probably gets so annoyed with it. Like with Star Wars, he wanted to end it because it's like, well, I feel like my character had been done, but it's like, dude, it's selling, and the toys are selling. You want to keep this going.
I don't know if he wanted to do that with Blade Runner, because even amongst sci-fi fans, Blade Runner's got some kind of iffy reception. I mean, I like it for the movie that it is. I think the director's cut on DVD, but I don't.
I'm wondering where it's going, is what I'm just saying.
But yeah, most fans, like you say, Harrison Ford, Blade Runner is not one of the top 3 or 4 things that jumps out at you as far as movies that he's made. Like I said, even sci-fi fans were kind of iffy on that movie. Even today, sci-fi fans are kind of iffy on that movie. It's gotten a bit of a following since then, as people kind of go back and watch it as filmmakers and say, oh yeah, I can appreciate these elements a lot differently now. But yeah, overall, it's still kind of 50-50 even amongst the sci-fi crowd.
Maybe is that why I said, like with Ghostbusters, I'm like, I don't think they really thought it was going to be as big as it was then as it is now, 30, 40 some years later. It's like, a lot of people like it, and maybe like we're saying with this Blade Runner, I'm like, maybe you're really feeding into that, like, hey, here's this, like with the remake of the new Ghostbusters, it's like, is it just kind of feeding into the fact that it's popular and it's huge, and it's like, well, with their twist was like they made it all an all female cast. Maybe it's just trying to carry on that whole, it's a big popular thing, and hey, maybe we can do something with this, even though I didn't want to see it because I didn't want to ruin Ghostbusters for me, because I mean, even the sequel to that was kind of
yeah, the sequel to Ghostbusters wasn't great. I think it's still a fun movie, but
it's fun, but it's not the original fun of the first one.
Oh no, not even close.
No, like, how do you think? Again, back then, how did you think a Marshmallow Man was going to be hilarious? A 50-foot Marshmallow Man. It's like, it just is. It's Ghostbusters. Who cares?
Well, like I said, there's a certain amount of suspension of belief when you go to see any movie these days.
Let's go.
So you're just like, 10-story tall guy made of marshmallows. Why not?
You don't see that every day.
I don't want to think about it, because if I think about it, I'm going to enjoy what I'm seeing a lot less. So I'm just going to say, hey, 50-foot Marshmallow Man, bring it on. Yeah, no thought behind it at all. That's our show for today, folks. Hope you guys liked what you saw. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share this video to everybody you think would like it. Thanks for joining us. You can find our contact information on social media in the description below. We'll see you guys next time. Later.